Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Vitamin C's. As usual, I'm your boy Adam Taylor. Find me over at CelticsBlog.com, Heavy.com, OddsChecker.com, and anywhere online you find Celtics basketball. As usual, I'm joined by my boy, my homie, my compadre, my co-host in crime, Mr. Tim Shields. Find him over at CelticsBlog.com and CLNSmedia.com. I always slip over that. What's going on, Tim?
Not much, man. Just looking forward to a later game tonight as they're going on this West Coast road trip. So I got to be honest. I don't know how you feel about it because, I mean, by the time the game is over, it might be the wee hours in the morning for you,
Be
right?
like 5 a.m. by the time it finishes.
For me, it's like by the time I'm done with my work, for me, it's probably about 2 a.m., 2:30, maybe 3 a.m. based on the post game coverage. So I gotta be honest. I dread the West Coast trip sometimes. It gets pretty rough.
I'll tell you what, it's start. Yeah, it'll be about 5 a.m. for me. So you'll be going to bed as I'm waking up, probably. Like I'm not. I never stay up for games anymore. Like I've got too much going on the next day where I need to edit a podcast, need to or record a podcast, need to get the analysis done, need to get the rewatching, need to get the. So I'm just like, man, forget all of that. Let me just start my day fresh. Start it with the first watch, do a few things, go back and then get the second watching, and then carry on with my day. So like I never watch game unless they're on there's been a few matinees, a few early starts the last few weekends. Then I'm like, cool. For anybody watching, we've been gone for a hot minute, man. I mean, it's been probably what over a week. We keep saying, hey, we're going to be better with this, and then we disappear. It's not Tim's fault. It is 100% on me. So for anyone that don't know, I'm a oldish dude. I'm 34. So youngish slash, getting up there. I don't know how you want to work. How it depends how old you are that are watching it. But
Yeah,
I
fair.
went back to night school a few years back because I wanted to get my degree in journalism and stuff. So sometimes they throw an assignment at me and it kicks my ass, and I have to kind of juggle this. This is my first year covering the team as like a full-time freelancer for multiple places, so I have to juggle that, plus juggle family commitments, plus juggle assignments. And sometimes this just slides through the net. And that's part of the reason. I'll be quite honest. I'm going to be honest because it's part of the reason I keep saying please subscribe, because once we hit that monetization point and we start, even if it's just $10 here, $5 there, 20, once it involves money, I have a reason to put more commitment in. Like, hey, I know I need to get this done, but this or but that. So it's definitely a reason why I'm like, please subscribe. I know everybody says it, but it does help a bunch. So please do that. But yeah, so that's where we've been for a hot minute, man. It's all on me. Had this big ass assignment come in, whoop my ass, and then halfway through it, I lost everything and had to start again. So
It's not your fault.
it is my fault. I lost everything.
It's
I
not
didn't.
your
I
fault.
didn't set it to auto save, bro.
Oh, it's
We're
fine.
talking thousands of words, dude. Just gone.
I mean, well, okay, so that sucks, but like I don't blame you for it. Stuff
No,
happens,
I just
life
wanted everyone
happens.
to know, like
Of course.
I'm always the guy that's like, hey, we've been gone for a minute, but now we're back. Don't worry, X amount of episodes are coming at your dome, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, hey, we've missed a few. Yeah,
Life
sometimes,
happens.
once
All
we get
good.
to a point,
Ain't stressing it.
once this show or the channel in itself, because I do post other stuff here, and once it's actually viable, even if it's just dribs and drabs to make a little bit of cash off this, then I'll start putting even more effort in doing more videos. I'll do some solo videos where I break stuff down. But until that point, it's kind of just going to be when we can fit this in, man, because I'm a busy boy. Tim, I know you're a busy boy. I'm a very, very busy boy. I got lights on the ceiling. See the lights? See the nice lights? I like them. How you doing anyway? Now I've told, kind of gave everyone reasonings.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good, grinding at Celtics blog when I can, just fitting in time to just get my editing done. Um, Obviously, when we're going on this grind, doing some of the art and stuff, having that go on while we're sort of just meandering through the season, figuring out what the schedule is going to be like once we get into the postseason too. I don't know if my workload's going to increase for doing editing. For those who don't know, I edit Garden Report, so I do a lot of their video editing and their segments as well as their audio and get that uploaded for CLNS, as well as sitting in on post game pressers. So if you see any of those videos up on YouTube or Twitter or anything like that, and it's from CLNS, I was probably the one who was editing it. So keeps me busy. It definitely keeps me busy post games and stuff too. But I think personally I want to try and make some time more to get some rewatches in when I can manage it. So trying to juggle all those sort of things. It's your workload's a lot bigger than mine, but definitely
Oh,
trying to
mine's
expand that to other
insane at
people.
this point. Mine's insane. I love it though. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Everyone wants to do this as a full-time thing. So being able to do this now, uh, you're never gonna catch me like moaning. I'm never gonna be down about it. Very happy. I just wanted everybody to know, hey, we keep saying this, then we vanish. I'm not trying to be that flaky guy. You know what I mean?
me either, man.
Uh,
Of course.
so it just happens sometimes. Now, anyway, we've wasted 5 minutes of people's time, so we can jump into things a little bit here. Before we do, after that long, drawn out explanation, please make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and leave a comment. All three things help. If you've already liked, if you've already subscribed, word of mouth, tell your dog walker, tell your tailor, your mechanic, the person that makes you food at Chipotle. If you don't like Chipotle, maybe you're at Chick-fil-A, anywhere like that. If they look like they're a Celtics fan, if they're wearing some form of Celtics clothing, maybe they have a Celtics tattoo. Hell, even if they've just got green earrings in, hey, you should be watching the Vitamin C's over on YouTube. Make sure to check it out. These guys are awesome. Little things like that go a long, long way. I think the first thing I want to hit on today is the Celtics signing Malik Fitz. So first of all, I've got my little one just walking into me, so I'll let you hit on Malik Fitz first.
So this was announced recently from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. The sophomore forward has signed a short-term deal to remain with the team. So Malik Fitz, as well as Keelan Martin, had been with the Celtics for consecutive 10-day contracts, but it looks like Fitz will be kept for the remainder of the season. Both Martin and Fitz's 10-day contracts expired on the 15th. And apparently after that, that was enough to keep Malik Fitz around. To give you an idea, he's right now, I believe he's 24 years old. So birthday is in July, so he's 24 going on to 25. He's 6'8", and he kind of fits that mold with what Boston's trying to get out of their wings. In 95 college games, he's shooting 39.2% from deep on about 4 attempts a game.
You're
So
reading
that's
my
pretty
article
good.
right now, ain't you?
Yeah, am I? I didn't even look
It's
who wrote this. This is
Celtics blog.
Adam's article on Celtics blog, which dropped. This is a great chance to plug your article, bro.
Yeah, I know. When you was reading it, when you was saying it, and I could see you looking at the screen, I'm like, yo, that's mine. I remember writing those words.
Yeah, he
No
dropped
way.
this yesterday, so read this if you want
Yeah, it
to.
was
This is
only a
perfect
news
to plug
update.
it, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I went away and had a little bit of a watch this morning of some of his time in college. He hasn't really played. He's only played 12 games in the NBA over the last 18 months. So it's not like we've got a sample size to pull on there. College, he looked quite strong. Obviously, when you're an NBA talent playing in college, you usually look more physically ready than the other guys around you. You usually have that little bit of an edge in terms of being able to get to the basket at will, being able to score at will, just because you're more physically and technically gifted than some of the other guys that you're going to come up against. So I always try and take that into account. And obviously, I'm not based in the US, so I haven't grown up watching a lot of college ball. So, I might be, there's things that I'm going to miss there in terms of trying to get takeaways. I'm definitely far more better at judging professional talent. Um, but yeah, he looks like defensively, looks sound, very versatile. Definitely struggles when putting pick and roll, staying in front of guards. But if you're asking him to switch onto wings or bigs, forwards, and anything like that, he's going to be fine on the perimeter. Very strong down on the low block. As you said, hit 40% of his threes in college at 4 attempts per game. He's gone, what was he, 3 of 8 from deep in the NBA, if I remember. It's in my article if you want to have a quick look. I think it's 3 of 8 for like
3 of 8,
37.
yeah.
Yep, see, I remember this. How I know I wrote that stuff. Yeah, so I think that he's a good ad. I can understand why they've gone with him over Keelan Martin. Keelan Martin was definitely more of a defensive specialist, more of a slasher as well. Didn't really provide much spacing in that sense as a skill set. Either way, neither of these guys are really going to get a crack at the whip at this rotation. Not this late in the season, not with the playoffs being so close. And I think that being on a non-guaranteed deal next year means that he's likely going to be cannon fodder for a trade, or they've kept their options quite open in being able to free up that roster spot as and when they need to. But for right now, hey, you came in, it was two of you guys, one of you were going to go home. So, Malik Fitz got that golden buzzer. So that's all you can really say about the dude. I do think that at least we're starting to see a clear trend with what this team are trying to do, right? Like everybody has to be versatile on defense. Everybody has to be physically strong. If you're not physically strong, then you need to be quite robust in your ability to fight through contact. And then I can't say everybody needs to be able to shoot because most people on this roster can't shoot, uh, which just sucks.
The glimmer
But
of hope that they can shoot.
yeah, I mean, like the idea is that a lot of these guys can shoot. The reality is it's just a down year,
Hmm.
but they're definitely looking at this size with shooting type of archetype right now for their filler guys.
Hmm.
Stauskas is there, Cornet's there, Aaron Neesmith's there. You've got Hauser that's there, Fitz is there. All these guys are known to be able to knock down the free ball. The problem is none of them are going to get minutes.
Yeah, until they can do it consistently. But again, it's like the snake eating itself. It's like you're gonna get playing time if you can hit your shots. But if you're not getting playing time, then you're not gonna get enough time to get your shots up and to build any kind of momentum. So until they can organically make those minutes happen, it's just not gonna happen this season. And with Fitz's deal in particular, he's guaranteed for the rest of this season. And as you said, I think it's actually a partial guarantee for next year. But again, all the more reason where they can
It
cut
is.
him taking minimal money, so as you said, he's either cannon fodder for a trade or
Oh, I said
he's a guy that they
non-guaranteed,
just
didn't I? It
waive.
was partially guaranteed. You're right, I'm wrong. It was
Oh,
partially guaranteed.
it's nothing. I
Um,
mean, it's going to be small money either way,
yeah,
like
either way, I think
less
like
than
it's
2
it's
mil, I
pennies.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
nothing.
expensive. What was it, 1.5 over the 2 years?
I want to say yes. So like usually that's
Yeah.
what it's going to be for a guy like that. Like if you're converting someone from a 10-day or it's a veteran contract, it's not going to be a lot of money. It's almost always like 1.5, 2 mil max. And for a guy like him, it's going to be probably 1.5 around
Yeah,
that.
I'm not
I could
like,
pull up
I'm
the
not
actual
expecting.
numbers too.
I'll be shocked if we see him. I mean, the
Mm,
best thing about it is he's super engaged on the sidelines. Like he's always like celebrating guys doing some cool shit, right? Like you see Jaylen get a dunk. Fitz is one of the first guys on his feet. Like, oh, like so. I like that. I like that energy that guys bring to the bench, like contributing without being able to contribute, type of thing. If we want to move on from Fitz, Grant Williams is another name I want to kind of hit on, shooting 9% on his threes from the last 3 games. Defense has still been sound. Like he's still moving his feet, still playing excellently on defense. But a huge part of his viability in this rotation this year has been his ability to be a knockdown shooter. Now,
mhm.
3 games does not make you, is not a sample size I'm willing to buy in on, basically. You know, everyone has bad games and you can string a few of them together. But I would say that, like, especially we're recording this before the Warriors game. I'm hoping to get this up before the Warriors game. So especially coming into a game against a team like the Warriors that have their big three back now. Draymond's healthy again. He'd been out for a hot minute. Klay Thompson's healthy again. We all know how long he was out for. Steph's back again because he had a bit of time where he was rested and then he was out for a bit. So now their big three's back. You need to be able to go bomb for bomb with these guys. You know what I mean? And trading their threes for your twos is a quick way to lose. It's how they shocked the league a few years back when that 3-point revolution was really coming into it, like into itself. And Grant Williams was going to be should be and will hopefully be one of your primary counterpunches there. So hopefully he can shake this slump off and start hitting more than 9% of his attempts, because 9% is not good.
Well, and the worst part is he's your team's best 3-point shooter, right? And on top of that, Jaylen Brown's completely lost his stroke too. And it's something crazy where
17% in the last 3 games.
yeah, well, and I think if you look, one of my friends sent it to me online, and I want to say it's like if you look from like November 14th through now, it's like he's dropped like something like 33% or something crazy. Like his percentages have just gone down. And I don't know, I don't want to chalk it all up to that ankle sprain, but I feel like that ankle sprain didn't help any of the issues that he might have had. So, like, if he was slumping at all, it's just gotten like just so much worse. And I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. I don't know if it has anything to do with, just not getting the looks he wants or forcing things. His handle hasn't been as great this year, but the one thing that you could count on him for was like the shooting stroke was there earlier. He was one of the
Yeah,
team's
that
better
catch and
3-point
shoot, that
shooters.
mid-range game was
Yeah.
hot. You know, there was a point where it was like, yo, Jaylen Brown's leading the world in mid-range makes. It's all gone. I think for me, one of my biggest takeaways from Jaylen Brown, and it's been an unpopular opinion I've had for a while now, has been that he's miscast in his role. You know, he sees Jason Tatum operating as a ball handler, or the coaches see Tatum operating as a ball handler, and they're like, hey, if Jaylen Brown could do this too, we'd be set. You know, the difference is Jaylen Brown's not that guy. I think his processing speed, well, no, you see, he's a really intelligent guy, but sometimes I think he overthinks the game. And I don't think he's the best ball handler in the world. You know, his turnover to assist ratio for his career is almost at 1-to-1. So to me, he's not the guy you want with the ball in his hands. I always call him a play finisher. He's the guy you want operating on catch and shoot opportunities, slashing to the rim, getting the ball, taking one or two dribbles, finishing around the rim. You want to rely on the fact that he can get wherever he wants on and off ball, and feed him the ball where he's got very little to do in terms of making a decision or making a play. Obviously, he's going to have to be able to make reads when defenses close out on him, slide over, take away the driving lane, what have you. But that's fine. You're not putting him at the top of the key or top of the three saying, hey, we're going to run you in the pick and roll, and then you're going to initiate an offensive set for us, because that's not what Jaylen Brown does. It's not where his skill set lies. That doesn't make him a bad player. It just means that you're asking him to do something that isn't in line with where his primary skill set is as a play finisher. Now, if you had Tatum as a ball handler and just really sold Jaylen Brown on being his second option and being the guy that finishes off whatever's fed to him, I think he'd thrive. Paul Pierce said this on he was doing like a panel. You can find a video. NBC Sports Boston tweeted it out a few days back, and he was talking about what it means to be a dynamic duo. And Pierce was like, yo, the thing with being a dynamic duo is both players are probably capable of being the primary dude. One of them has to swallow the pill and sacrifice for the team and be like, hey, this dude's a better finisher than me, a better creator than me. I'm going to take a step back and play off of him rather than play with him. And Pierce used Kobe and Shaq. He was like, when Kobe and Shaq were working, Kobe took a little bit of a step back and let Shaq be that guy. And the reason that never worked long term was because Kobe was like, now, bro, I'm that guy. And, the butting ahead started. I think that's what Tatum and Brown need to do. And look, I think we all accept that Brown is the guy that needs to swallow that pill and take that step back a little bit. And I
Yeah.
just don't. I think until that happens, he's going to be doing more than what his skill set is capable of, and he's never going to reach the heights that he could if he played more off ball, more as a ball finisher, a play finisher. And I feel like seeing Brown just kind of spotting up is kind of wasting him. Seeing him spotting up, then back cutting guys at speed, catching it and then dunking it, or going on and up and under, that's where he's most valuable.
Yeah, and I don't think he's I think expecting him to play create for other people and to do that, it just is not it's not conducive to the style of play that you want from him. Like, and we saw some of those flashes in the recent game against the Mavericks, where I mean, he had a couple monstrous dunks, and he was really aggressive with getting into the hoop and getting into the paint and playing through contact. That's what you want him to do. You want him to be that slasher. You want him to be a 3-point threat. The three ball right now is not there for him, but I have faith that it will come back. It's just a matter of putting him in the best situation to succeed. And that means taking some of that stuff off of his plate. If he's not a playmaker for other people, okay, we need to find spots where we can open him up. And like Tatum has really gotten a lot better at being a playmaker. The passing has been there, and it helps to have better spacing now. Like, I think they're in a better position than they were certainly at the beginning of the season. And obviously, Tatum's offensive game as a whole has just gotten so much better. To the point where he's starting to get a little bit of that MVP buzz. I don't know how much of it's going to really matter in the end, but it's happening is what I'm saying. But when it comes to Jaylen Brown, you need to put him in a spot where he can actually just be him, and he doesn't have to worry about doing things that are outside of his comfort zone. Like, I don't think he's comfortable being a primary ball handler. And I don't know how much of that is coaching or how much of that is Jaylen Brown trying to expand his game in order to try and keep pace with Jason Tatum. I think they're two different style kind of players. Like we talk about two wings in Boston being similar skill set and having too much of the same thing is bad or something like that. I think they have completely different skill sets, and it's starting to seem like that, especially as Tatum's game starts to evolve a little bit more. And I think for Jaylen specifically, I think he needs to focus on those like few things that he does well and just hone and perfect them to the point where those things, even if he doesn't have 5 or 6 things like Tatum does, like if he has 3 things or 4 things that he does really, really well, if he can do those things at an elite level, then he's going to be a perfect fit for this team. And I think that's possible. I think it's part of the coaching staff working with him to get to that point.
Yeah, and then part of it's the scheme as well. You have to ask him to do less to get more. Like that's pretty much the be all and end all. I don't want to see him isoing and dribbling a bunch because his dribble's not tight enough. Especially like anyone can like Jaylen Brown is more than capable of breaking a guy down off the dribble. It's that first and second step when he goes to explode that the ball becomes loose, the dribble becomes high. It's easy to swipe away, bounces it off his foot. I said this on the Celtics blog podcast the other day as well. His hands are really like like missing passes a bunch, and when guys are trying to fire passes at him, they're sliding through his hands. I've nicknamed him Butterfingers Brown right now, like because he's just dropping everything. I think that part of it's mental, part of it might be fatigue, and then another part of it is just being asked to play in a role that isn't conducive to having the best version of Jaylen Brown right now. That's been my opinion for probably about 6 months at this point. Obviously, opinions change, so it could change. Like once he's back playing at an optimal level, maybe we see stuff from him, and I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I want to be wrong. Sometimes you say things and you want to be incorrect on them. This is one of them times, but I just feel like at the moment, Tatum and Brown have definitely figured out how to play together. Now they need to figure out how to play off of each other, and that means Brown swallowing that pill, as Paul Pierce said. But he was obviously not saying Brown and Tatum. I'm pretty much covered everything I want to hit. You got anything?
I mean, I really got not too much on my brain when it comes to the team right now. It kind of feels like because they've been off for a few days and because this is a later game
Oh yeah,
today, it feels like such a weird layover. But part of me also thinks that the team sort of needed a little bit of a rest, um, just to get a couple things sorted out. Their defense is still
sure,
really,
sure.
really good, but the offense leaves a lot to be desired. We talked about the 3-point shooting being down, mainly guys like Jaylen Brown and Grant Williams struggling a bit there. So you need to just try and get everybody back on the same page. And that means, having a little bit faster decision making. And I think that's been a problem for a lot of the team too. So just being able to just make those reads, follow on instinct, and let the offense flow naturally that way. So that's really my thoughts on it. We can wrap up whenever, man. But let's see what they can do against the Warriors. Warriors are a very tough team. And if you're looking for a measuring stick, that's about as good as it's going to get.
So the next episode we're going to do, I want to look at the pros and cons of what we've seen from Derek White right now. I want a couple of extra game sample size, so this one's going to help a bunch. But if anybody's made it this far in the video and you're wondering, I wonder what these dudes are going to talk about next, it's going to be Derek White and the good things he brings to the team and the negatives. Until then, as I said at the top of the show, as I said 5 minutes into the show, and as I'm going to say again now, 23 minutes into the show, please like, subscribe, comment, use word of mouth. Maybe you like to go skateboarding at the skate park and there's a bunch of people wearing Celtics jerseys. Hey,
How
check
do
out
you
Vitamin
do,
C's.
fellow kids?
Yeah, how do you do, fellow skateboarding brethren? Please watch this video with me now, and you should all click subscribe. Share it on your Instagram, share it on Reddit, share it on Facebook, share it on your Twitter. It's one thing us tweeting it out because it's our content. It's a completely different thing when somebody else is the one tweeting that out, when somebody else is the one posting and tagging us. That's different because that's showing people that you enjoyed it and wanted to share it rather than like, hey, we recorded this, we think you should watch it. It's a completely different mindset. That's probably the best way to help us, actually, is just share this on socials and tag us. You can see our social handles there. Until next time, stay safe, stay well. Let's get another win. Go Celtics, go. And Tim, been a pleasure, bro.
Of course, man. Cheers.